Um, the feeling's close to it, I guess, but King of Tonga, no, I can never take that title. I guess it's safe to say that the boys feel like they're kings in their own rights. Not only the way they carry themselves, but I guess the way they performed tonight for not only ourselves, but all of Tonga themselves.
You've had a lot of good moments in your career. Where's this rate?
Right up there with alongside the premiership. I reckon probably go on further and be probably my biggest game, and this is my best career highlight, I guess. Oh, highlight of my career, sorry, my bad.
That's a massive call. The players say they play the game a bit of time.
Yeah, I guess having alongside on my resume, I guess being the best country in rugby league as a tier 2 nation. I think this feeling is one I'll remember for the rest of my life, and hopefully spend the time to tell my grandkids and my kids before that.
And Jason, when you made the decision in 2017 to play for Tonga, did you think that this was achievable, that you could knock off New Zealand, Great Britain and Australia?
I knew what the boys were capable of. I definitely the team we had back in 2017 up to the team we had now. I get all those teams were capable of beating the top 3 teams in rugby league, but I guess it was just step on the right direction from 2017 that finally led to obviously tonight.
Christian, is this just a prime example of what regular tests against top level nations does for teams like Tonga?
Yeah, it definitely is. The more games we get at this level, the stronger we're going to get. We've shown that. You only get better by playing high-level footy and doing that on a consistent basis. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. And if I can just add to Jason a little bit there, the reason it probably feels like it's above a grand final is because you only ever get to do that once. What these blokes have achieved in terms of being the first tier 2 nation to not just beat the other 2 tier 1s, but to knock off the best in the world. You only ever get to do that once. That leaves a real legacy for Tongan Rugby League, and the bloke beside me is right at the forefront of that.
How much confidence do you think the players will now get when they, obviously come up against the likes of Australia in the World Cup?
I should be very confident. We've just beaten Great Britain and just beaten Australia, so the confidence was obviously high. To be able to do that, you've got to back yourself, and I could tell from we've been in camp for 2.5 weeks, and I could tell from day one that blokes were there and they meant business. And we did a really good contact session a couple of weeks ago where blokes ripped in, and as I said, straight away you could tell they were here for work and here to win. And the confidence builds when you feel that everyone's here for the same reason and everyone's here to want to try and win something. And obviously they're capable of it, and they're capable of doing it in the future as well. And there's going to be a lot more wins for Tongan Rugby League, that's for sure.
When were you sort of feeling like you were just relentless the whole side was? Well, obviously the Aussies were thinking, we'll come back, but you just kept going. What did you really believe you got this?
The moment I put on the jersey, coming into obviously after last week's win, our main focus was this week. Everyone moved past the win against Great Britain, even though that was as much as it was a historical win for us. I think the boys, the bigger prize was this weekend, and the boys really focused and prepared hard, and I guess the biggest one was we believed that we could beat the best country in rugby league, and obviously that showed tonight. And
Jason, is it extra sweet given everything that's been going on in the past couple of months? You said you'd walk away from rep footy if you weren't allowed to play this game. Does it make it extra sweet?
Yeah, to an extent, I guess. My main priority was at the time was trying to get rugby league in Tonga on straight and narrow, and whatever I could do. Obviously Christian was at the forefront too, making sure that rugby league in Tonga would be competitive, and would see much more rugby league tests for Tonga. So now that we finally moved on from that. The boys prepared well, given that circumstances we were in last few months. So to go from almost not playing test footy at the end of the year to putting on a red white jersey, but changing obviously names and everything, I think the boys done well to prepare and to come into camp ready to represent Tonga.
Actually, how close did it come to not playing? Like how close was it?
Well, look, there's a few days there, leading into it that we were sitting by the phone wondering what was going to happen, and for everyone, for the players, at the end of the day, it's about the players, and for the players and everyone involved, there were certainly days there where you started to wonder whether things were going to happen, and it's a hard thing to be. It's like your life's on hold a little bit when you're waiting for a phone call to see what's happening next, and sometimes that phone call doesn't come. But a couple of things I suppose I want to say. Like, there's been a lot of blokes who call themselves community leaders, calling for boycotts and calling for splits in the community, and they're not leaders. So the blokes who actually are leaders are the blokes like Jason, Siwa, those kinds of guys who unite the Tongan community. And what they do tonight is they show their leaders, and they show their leaders in their actions. And what Jason's saying there is exactly right. We need the right governance in Tonga. If we get the right governance in Tonga, we've shown what we're capable of, and I'm hopeful that that's what happens going forward. Out of a couple of really tough months.
Christian, do you feel like you can go on and win the next World Cup now, the results in the last 2 weeks?
Well, there's no doubt we can. We've just beaten Great Britain and we've just beaten Australia, and we got a lot of improvement from tonight too. That was a really tough, gritty effort. You look at our last 10 minutes, at times there I thought we were trying to lose it. We're kicking out on the full, we're offloading tackle 3, and but at the end of the day, what wins games is how you want to hang in and defend, and how tough you want to do that, and that's where you get to show what it means to each other, and that's what these blokes were willing to do. So there's no doubt at all that we can go on and we can win more Tier 1 games, and we will go on and win more Tier 1 games. And a big part of that, as I said, is getting our governance right, so that we've got some stability and we can actually plan and start putting things in place to be really professional over the next 2 years for a real crack at a World Cup.
Jason, will lifting the World Cup at Old Trafford beat even that?
Definitely, I guess. It's a World Cup, so I guess that's every international team's goal, to win a World Cup. So tonight's just, the last 2 tests are a step in the right direction, and like Wolfie said, we can only improve. Still a few young players coming through the ranks. They can only get better from now till the World Cup, and I guess that's part of learning. Playing in big games like this, and learning, getting a bit of experience and what to do and what not to do. So great learning curve for those young guys, but our leaders really showed the way.
Christian, just on sports governance, with this win being a catalyst, will you guys consider a truce with the old board and maybe NMT will make a comeback instead of Kangaroos?
Oh, look, we need new governance. There's no doubt about that. And I said before that we need to get the governance right there, and some stability there, and that's how we're actually going to reach our potential going forward and make it sustainable for a long time as well.
So is MMT gone and Kangaroos?
Oh, look, that's not my decision. I don't know, sorry.
Christian, you said in the lead up to this match in the press conference that if this testing go ahead and put Tonga back a number of years, what will this win do for rugby league in Tonga?
Oh, look, rugby league over the last 2 years on the back of, you've got to remember that Jason's the first bloke to make the call to say that he's one of the best players in the world, if not the best, and he's going to play for a so-called second-tier nation instead of one of your Tier 1s. And on the back of that, I hope I get the numbers right, but I think there was around 14 clubs in Tonga, and that boomed to around 30 in 2018, and that's still growing. So the legacy, and again, it's the first time you can ever beat a Tier 1 nation. It's the first time you can ever beat Australia, and that's what these blokes have achieved. And the legacy they're going to leave is the number of people in Tonga and the number of kids in Tonga who now want to play rugby league instead of rugby union, and the number of kids in Tongan kids in New Zealand who want to do the same thing, and they want to follow in the steps of Jason and Siwa and those kinds of guys. And someone said to us before, you probably don't realise what you've achieved, and I'm sure that Jason probably hasn't thought of it that way either, but what these blokes have done will actually be shown in the next 5, 10, 15 years with, as I said, the kids who want to play for Tonga and represent that country, and the kids who want to play our sport as well.
Christian, what's your favourite memory of tonight? What's going to stick in your mind the most?
Look, it's 80 minutes of stress for us, to be honest, at times. So, look, once we obviously Australia weren't as familiar with the rules around international. You can't do it. You can't have two in a tackle and try and rake it out. And once we got that penalty and you've won the game, that was obviously outstanding. So I guess that's probably my favourite memory. Sorry? Bucket of Gatorade, I suppose. But look, the other thing, you walk out and I get to see Jason, I get to see Conrad Arell, all the players and the look on their faces and what it actually means to them. That's what we're here to do at the end of the day, is assist them to achieve what they're capable of, and that's what they've done tonight.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you.
Well, Jelly Curie Evans.